Today we look at the card that proves with great power comes great responsibility. Find out what's going on as I hereby invite everyone to join me on my adventures through Marvel Snap. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. So with the Sanctum Showdown coming in just a day or so, and it having 3 rewards behind it, and none of them having spotlights behind them, I still wanted to do a review on all 3 cards. So this will be part 3 of a 3-part series. The other 2 parts will be in the description below of this video. This one we're going to be talking about Uncle Ben. Uncle Ben worked as a carnival worker at Coney Island in his youth. He was deeply attracted to May Reilly, but she was in love with another man. Ben warned her that this man was a criminal, but she did not believe him until she heard the police talk about a man who had just robbed a jewelry store and had shot a man who had tried to call for help. The description of her suitor matched this man exactly. She knew then that he was indeed a criminal and that she could never love or marry such a man, and instead she took up with Ben instead. Uncle Ben had a younger brother, Richard, who had a son, Peter. Ben and May took care of Peter when their parents were away, as they never had children of their own. So after both their parents had died, they became his surrogate parents and raised him as if they were his own. Peter was a shy but studious individual who felt alienated from his fellow high school students. But Ben and May provided him with the love and emotional support he needed, and they were the people that Peter truly cared for. Uncle Ben cared very much for Peter, and when he had his accident that gained him superhuman powers, he could tell that something was off with Peter. He decided to have a talk with the boy and told him that with great power comes great responsibility. Peter tried to take this to heart and make some money for his struggling family. He entered a cage match, but when the manager stiffed him the money, and he saw a thief steal from this manager who called out for help, the masked young hero ignored him. Uncle Ben was killed that same night by that same thief. His death at the hand of a petty criminal who had previously had a chance to apprehend but chose not to was the main factor that inspired Peter to become the hero Spider-Man. To this day, Peter is still burdened by what happened to him that night, and has made an effort to make sure that no one ever has to go through what he did that night. And he will always remember what Uncle Ben said to him. With great power comes great responsibility. Uncle Ben has no powers. There is no super strength or magic. There is no secret big backstory to this man. He is just a good man with a good loving heart who tried to do the right thing each and every day. He was always willing to help out anyone he could, whenever he could. He was just a normal, moral, everyday man in this world. But he knew right from wrong, and he did his best to lead others down that path. And to a certain context, that makes him one of the greatest heroes out there. Uncle Ben is the father figure whose death was the main inspiration for Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man. He taught Peter that with great power comes great responsibility. This is represented in Marvel Snap as it is only possible with the death of Uncle Ben that Spider-Man comes into play. So in Marvel Snap, what this card does, it is a 1 cost 2 power with the description of that when you destroy Uncle Ben, he will summon a Spider-Man or the Spider-Man to his location. In Marvel Snap, unfortunately, I feel that he is a 2-star rating, and I think I'm being more than generous giving him a 2-star rating. There's a part of me that wants to give him a 1-star rating, but that almost feels mean to Uncle Ben. I want to go over some of the reasons why he gets such a low rating. First of all, we gotta talk about the most obvious card that gives him such a low rating. And that is X-23. X-23 is the same cost, it's the same power. Anybody who has recently played Marvel Snap has just gotten X-23 for free. There's basically no deck that I can think of where you want to play Uncle Ben up instead of X-23. Now, there may be a time in the future where somebody doesn't get X-23 because they joined too late, but as long as X-23 and Uncle Ben are in the same rank level, as long as they're both Series 3 or both Series 4, if you have to choose one, I would still go with the X-23 over the Uncle Ben. Now, one of the things that makes him really weird, and this is a problem that some other cards have in Marvel Snap, is he is tied directly to Spider-Man. And you would say it there and go, oh, that's great, but to a certain degree, it causes a problem. First of all, Spider-Man, as he is right now, isn't a great card. He's just an okay card. And as long as these two are tied, there may be an issue in the future with making Spider-Man a better card because of Uncle Ben, or making Uncle Ben a better card because of Spider-Man. To a certain degree, I wish they would have given Uncle Ben a different Spider-Man. Call it like the Amazing Spider-Man or the original Spider-Man or something else like that. So that the card that Uncle Ben drew or summoned would not be linked to this actual card. There's a part of me that almost wishes that his text said get a Spider-Man so you could have this whole range of different Spider-Mans, because one of the things of the Spider-Verse is that every single Spider-Man has a Uncle Ben that died for them. The other card that you kind of got to look at when you go point by point is the Bucky Barnes, because this card works almost exactly like Bucky Barnes. But the thing with Bucky Barnes is that you're trying to get the Bucky Barnes to die so you can get the Winter Soldier, which is a 2/7. At its stat lines, Uncle Ben is not that great. He's basically the equivalent of X-23 or Maria Hill. And him getting the Spider-Man isn't that much of a better choice for him. You're not even hitting the 7 that you're getting off of the Winter Soldier that you can get. If you eat the Uncle Ben, you'll get the 2. If you eat the Uncle Ben and the Spider-Man, you'll get 6 instead of the 7 that you'll get off the Winter Soldier by itself. Another problem with Uncle Ben is the same problem that kind of exists with Bucky Barnes and kind of exists with this whole archetype, is that you need another card to trigger it. You need a Carnage or a Venom or a Destroyer to make this work. And there's not that many cards that work with this. You basically just do have the Carnage, the Venom, the Deathlock. I mean, it is a nice card to play if you're worried about Killmonger showing up around, as this is one of the few cards that Killmonger likes to destroy, wants to destroy, so you can make a deck that goes destroy and just doesn't care. But one of the issues that that's going to run into is the fact that it has a move ability. And the problem with a move ability is there's going to be a game where you have a stormed out location or a death's domain or something like that, and the Spider-Man's going to take one of your opponent's cards and push it right into that location, and you might not win that location because they just did that, and they might not have had a way of pushing a card into that location because they weren't playing any kind of move themselves. There is a whole idea where you can basically put this in the screen deck, because it's another way of moving a card and it's a guaranteed way of moving a card. The only issue with that is usually the screen deck plays Kingpin. To have a good way of destroying the Uncle Ben, you might kill the Kingpin along the way. To a certain degree, if you're concerned about having a 1-drop in any deck, even a good destroy deck, even a good move deck, you might be better off with Maria Hill. Maria Hill's going to at least give you that curve that runs into the game where you can have a 1-drop and a 2-drop. Now, this is a 1-drop that will get you the equivalent of a 2-drop without having to put down a 2-drop and just play something else, so it's not the end of the world. But you have to be careful about it. Another thing that you always got to be careful about whenever you play destroy cards is armor. There is a world where you're going to put down Uncle Ben and somebody's just going to put the armor on top of it and just make sure that you don't destroy it, either because they feel guilty about Uncle Ben dying or because they know that's a card that you're going to want to destroy. It kind of puts out a red flashing light going, I'm going to destroy this thing. Now, one of the things that kind of annoys me about Uncle Ben is, to a certain degree, this card could have completely changed how Marvel Snap was seen from the beginning. If they had introduced this card from the beginning, you would have looked at it, you would have rolled your eyes, you would have kind of sat there and went, okay, haha, kind of funny. But it would have shown that Marvel Snap had this kind of sense of humor, had this kind of way of not being a serious game. Of just being a game that you played for fun, you know? And anytime they brought out a card like Moonstone, now you're like, who's this Moonstone? Why are they in the game? And people could be like, oh, you mean the game where you literally kill Uncle Ben to create Spider-Man? Now, because of the fact that it's been so long and this game has had sort of a reputation of being a more serious game, this feels like a throwaway joke card. This card feels the most like a card that somehow they had made in their backlog and they just needed to get it off their list to give a third card to the Sanctum Showdown. This feels like the worst prize in the Sanctum Showdown. I really do not see a place where this works. I really don't see a time where this works. As long as X-23 exists, I can't see why you want to play X-23 instead of Uncle Ben. And it's going to become one of these things like that. The only time you'll see somebody play Uncle Ben is down the road when they somehow get Uncle Ben before they get the X-23. And it'll be seen more as a consolation prize, which is always a sad thing to see in a card. There's just too much going for it. You gotta play it down, relatively soon. It has the problem of it could move something into a location where you don't want it to go. Now, there is a world where you play down near the end. And you basically wait till about turn 4, turn 5. And you play the Uncle Ben, and maybe you even play... There's a way which you can do on turn 6. Now play the Uncle Ben, the Bucky Barnes, and the Deathlock all on 6. And change a location where... basically had nothing to a location that has something decently good. You know, you're basically putting down what is it? 5 plus 4 plus 7, that's 9 plus 7. 7 plus 9 is 16. That's 16 points worth of power that comes out of anywhere, nowhere, to a certain degree. The only problem with that is the Spider-Man kind of swings away. So you either have to make it so that Spider-Man can't swing away in that situation, or that you're hoping that Spider-Man will pull something from your opponent that will actually help you out in that situation. So if Spider-Man pulls away a 7-cost card from your opponent's side, it's actually taking away an additional 7 power. So there is this whole idea where you can go late into the game and have it show up, but I think that's just hoping a little bit. If it had been the original Spider-Man, the OG, the original first day Spider-Man, it would have been a broken card. Because the original OG Spider-Man used to do a storm-like effect, where it would web up the lane and then your opponent couldn't play their next turn. With Spider-Man as it is right now, this isn't that powerful of a card. You're not playing Spider-Man as a spike right now. You're playing Spider-Man as a tech card, and he's a good tech card. But you want to know where that tech card's going. Anyways, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, remember, play for fun.